Okay, the final thing we want to do is export our video, our sequence, into a standalone video file, an MPEG-4 video file that we can upload for our assignment. Now, one thing you'll notice throughout this time we've been editing is that the program has an autosave feature that's been kicking in about every 5 minutes. It's also very recommended that every couple minutes you just do a save. The keystroke for that on Apple is Command S. On Windows, it's Control S. But it's a good idea to do that every couple minutes. The last thing you want is to be, editing for a couple hours and then lose it, in a program freeze or a crash. Okay, so to get this into a separate video file outside the program, we want to make sure that our sequence window is selected. See, I'm just clicking on it here. You see that blue bounding box? That just means it's selected, of course, as we've established. We're going to go to our File menu, Export Media. Okay. So this gives us some options for how we want to format this standalone video. Most of this stuff you can go with the default setting. For format, if you click on that menu, you see there are a lot of different options. What you want to do here is H.264. What that does is give us an MP4 file. Now you'll notice that there's an MPEG-4 option, but that is actually going to yield us something different, and it's going to make a really tiny video. What we want is the H.264. Okay, output name. If we click on that, we can give this a more descriptive title. I'm just going to call it montage, and I'll put my initials at the front of it. And of course, we want to save this on our external hard drive, and so I'm still in my clips folder on that drive, so I'm going to click Save. Okay, and the rest of this stuff you can just let go, and when you click Export, Premiere will take, I don't know, a minute or a couple minutes to format your video. And when it's done, it will be in that space on your external drive where you saved it. So I would recommend, looking at it, double checking, making sure everything looks the way it needs to look. Make sure you haven't forgotten anything or maybe had a misspelling on a title card. Because if you do, you can always go back to your original Premiere file, make the adjustments, the edits or the changes, and then re-export it. That's the nice thing about having Premiere, is that you can always go back to that original source file and edit to get your final video the way it needs to look, the way it needs to sound, etc. And what you see happening here, this is just the program encoding your final video file. That's why this is called exporting this process. You're exporting your sequence as an MP4 video file. Okay.